Hi everyone, it's Rachel from Elements Learning Collaborative. Let me see if I can play with the glare in my glasses. Um, so thanks again for joining me. This is another week of live parent tips and questions. You can see the past recordings, including this one, in the video section of our Facebook page. A couple of weeks ago, I shared an overview of some homeschooling basics. So check that out if you have been curious about homeschooling and you want to learn a little bit there. Today I want to talk about something that I didn't mention in that video, a different approach for parents this year, a different option, and that is deschooling. Deschooling is the adjustment period that a child goes through when they're leaving school and beginning homeschooling. It's the decompression period where the children they don't have a workload from school anymore. They're free from their obligations. They can relax and breathe easy and do things that they enjoy. And so this is something that's happened, for a long time in homeschooling communities. Um, and and I'll talk more about it, but one of the keys to the deschooling process is parents having faith that if their children do fall behind, that it won't be detrimental to their overall learning experience and it won't be detrimental to their development. So I'm feeling like parents need some reassurance when it comes to the uncertainty of this school year. And so I want to give parents some support and encouragement that if you need a break and your child needs a break from the school year, that it's okay to do that. This is something that families do often. Um, and they, sorry, let me see where I am. So I want to reassure parents that it's okay for them to have a break. We tend to have high expectations of children in schools, and those expectations have been increasing over the past decade since No Child Left Behind. And you may see in your home the stress that your children are going through. You may be seeing the own stress that you're going through, having been thrown into that crisis schooling in the spring. And so I want to remind parents that academic learning is really only a part of developing adults that are intelligent, just adults who are contributing positively to the society. So it's okay for them to take a break from that academic experience. That you can't take a break from learning overall because every experience that your children are having is a learning experience. You do things, you don't do them well, you learn from them. You figure out what you like, you figure out what you don't like, you realize different things about yourself, you learn how to build relationships through more experience with relationships. And I mean, within your family and your household. So there's all that learning that is not going to go away if school is out of the picture. Um, so maybe it's a year-long break and they start up again next year. And schools can accommodate that. They always do, and I expect that they will be even more accommodating of children who are at different levels in the typical track that the children are on. If they take a break from that, they'll be able to get back there. But I know a lot of families are not looking to get back there. A lot of families are feeling motivated to maintain a different style of schooling altogether. And so especially for those families, taking a full break before you begin to homeschool can be really helpful for you and your child, especially during stressful times. And this is typically something that is done of high school graduates. It's called the gap year, where they just do their own thing. They explore life, they explore learning in ways that they choose. And that's a real key factor, is to let children find what they're intrinsically motivated to do. So even for the younger kid, the teenagers, I think, can benefit from a gap year, especially before they get back into what might be a career move or a sort of study into a trade or a career. But for kids under 12, I think they'll greatly benefit from having that time off as well. We tend to think of play as being for the really young children, but it is very beneficial for kids. It's beneficial for adults too. We want to play, we want to socialize, we want to have fun, we want to laugh, we want to enjoy life. And so I think kids will do well with that also. So specifically the play that happens that we talk about with young kids, like the loose parts play, the hands-on learning, just free play in the yard or at the park or out in nature, the outdoor experiences, those can all be so very beneficial for children's development, not specifically guiding them to through their academic curriculum tracks, but for developing the whole being of the child and getting them prepared for adulthood in a way that is sometimes missing. So deschooling can provide that, and I do want to hear from you if you've read about deschooling, if you have thoughts about it, and what questions or concerns you have about how you might make it work. It can definitely be very intimidating to think about because we do need to have some trust that our children will eventually do less of what looks like not learning, what really looks like heavy playtime. We have to trust that they will get back to that place where they do want to learn and they are motivated. But I want to reassure parents that even if that didn't happen, even if it was a fully year of downtime for your child, decompression, a break from all of that, it can serve them well so that they can pay attention to their interpersonal skills, feeling comfortable with who they are. We can think of all the angst and stress that children go through normally. Never mind now where things are so uncertain and scary, I think, for a lot of children. So again, deschooling has happened for a long time among parents who are withdrawing their kids from the traditional schools and moving towards homeschooling. And those children go on to be homeschooled and thrive, or come back to the public schools feeling recharged, and they generally succeed. So it's not a new concept to allow your child a break from that traditional education. If they take 1 year off of their 12 years of schooling, potentially 16 years or more, in fact, if they take 1 year off, they won't fail at life. And I cringe when I hear people talking about this concept of children falling behind. It makes me feel like we're telling the kids that they don't have the skills to do things well without the schools, and I feel like it's a disservice to even to sort of make kids feel like they need the school, they need these academic experiences, otherwise they will not thrive or succeed. And so I want to encourage parents to see the bigger picture of what it means for our kids to be successful adults, to think about, is happiness being factored in when we're thinking about the experiences that they receive to prepare them for adulthood? Are relationship skills factored in, life skills? And so parents who are at home with their children now more than ever because they're working from home and their children are home, I want to give parents that encouragement to know that they can execute these important roles without, if they're not taking the time to facilitate a child's learning. So if parents are instead putting a little bit more attention to building relationships within the family, having bonding experiences with their children, it's okay to take a pause from facilitating education through the schools so that you can focus on your child's social emotional wellness and your own family's social emotional wellness. Your children may very well flourish after having that break that they need. We know that adults need time to recharge, toddlers need their naps, and we all need downtime. These are very stressful times as well. And I know parents, as I said before, parents need to do some deschooling on their own because it can be very hard and scary to wrap our heads around what that's like because we grow up hearing how important school is. But parents are really drained more than ever, and it does take a lot of time to facilitate that distance learning for your child. And so if parents are able to instead focus on the bonding with the family, such as making sure bedtime stories are a part of the family mix, game nights, checking in with your kids' feelings, noticing when they're feeling stressed out, helping them find joyful experiences. Even if we're doing that in short bursts in between work, kids can really thrive if they are, sort of actively participating in the family unit, if they're engaging in, little bits of chores and preparing meals for the family, things that happen naturally and can be ways to bond with your family, create memories that will last a long time, and that kids will look back on with joy. So parents are able to provide that for their kids already, and that's a part of parenting that happens anyways. But if we give ourselves the time to focus more on that, the benefits can be great. So you don't have to teach them specifically the math and the chemistry. It's okay to pause from those things, but provide them with a book that you read and enjoyed as a kid and reread it with them. Strengthening the bond between the parent and child is also ultimately going to allow your child to seek your guidance when it comes to what they want to learn about. So part of the deschooling idea is that the downtime will create a space for your child to discover what they love, um, allow them to learn, to know what they want to learn about, and bring them that intrinsic motivation. Um, so deschooling naturally leads to a more laid-back exploratory model of learning, especially for teens that already exist in some places. And so I want to point towards the success that already happens when children are given this freedom and this lesser academic responsibilities. I'll share a link to a program called North Star that's a sort of high school where they let kids follow their interests inside a community of learners and educators that are, providing guidance and sharing their skills. And that's something that Elements hopes to do and provide for our older teenagers as well, providing them apprenticeships and life skills, and all these social emotional skills are part of what Elements' overall goal is and what our vision is to help us meet our own goals for our program. And so I think when kids are able to take that gap year, they can thrive. If it becomes a longer experience for them, that can be really beneficial as well. But you can always get your child back, quote unquote, on track. They won't. The academic backup is going to be minor compared to what they can achieve in a year of that gap year, that break, that decompression, that ability to figure out that they love this instrument and that they want to study this instrument, or maybe they want to study a language and they realize that that's useful. They might find these trades that they really want to go into. Maybe there's some projects around the house that your teenager gets really into and they take ownership of that, and that's fun and motivating for them. Children often get entrepreneurial with their artwork or their other creative passions. And that can be a really beneficial experience, especially for the teens. And like I said, for the younger kids to just enjoy childhood and play outside, maybe it's connecting more with cousins or neighbors, that sort of small cohort of people that you are, connected with. Children don't always maintain those connections that they have in school because the parents aren't connected to those parents or that community. And so if children are interacting and building those, what social relationships they are building, if those are among their immediate family members, their siblings, their cousins, their family's close friends, those are the people who they're going to have those longer relationships with. And I think that can be another really beautiful aspect of allowing children that downtime and choosing this deschooling model. I definitely don't have all the answers about how schools should be opening and operating right now, but I want parents to know that no matter what your school system provides, you can always take that full step back and rejoin the learning anytime in the future when the learning experience won't be a drain on your child and your family. If you want to take it a step further and really engage your child in the conversation, which can be really important, ask them the questions about what they want to learn, ask them what kind of experiences they want to have while they're in this deschooling experience, or what you're working towards after the deschooling experience. Get to know your children a little bit better. One of the things actually I think that I didn't mention in my homeschooling basics discussion a couple of weeks ago was that or maybe I did, but parents really point out that the beauty of whether it's homeschooling or unschooling or just moving away from the academic responsibilities is that it opens up a space for you to get to know your child in a really deep way, in a meaningful way, and your children, and build your children's relationships with each other and your parents and your extended families, and really just thrive in a human sort of way, in a really holistic, way that the academics is really separate from. So the academics can always be gone back to. You can always, your children can always choose courses. College courses are always available to people. There's so many online courses that you can use to build your resume and to find career paths and all of that. So your children will have access to all of that. But this can be a really important time to see their emotional needs and to allow them that time to address them and to get to know themselves a bit. So if you think that's an important message for other parents or family and friends, please click the share button, or you can jump down to the links that I will be adding in the comments if you prefer sharing from articles. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.